All right, Larry Krueger from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er update. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. This video is also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California on the Monterey Peninsula. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. And this video is brought to you by Mancini's. Mancini's a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They offer a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. I'm loving my Mancini's bed. Click the link below or go to sleepworld.com and find a bed that works for you. Whether you shop online or visit in-store, use the code KRUG10, K-R-U-E-G 10, and you'll get 10% off. That's KRUG10 to get 10% off in any of Mancini's stores or online at sleepworld.com. All right, let's talk about all the things going on in 49er land as we look at all the headlines connected to them on January the 20th on this Monday. And there's been a number of stories surrounding the 49ers, and a lot of them on the coaching front as the coaching carousel continues to spin. Ben Johnson today was officially named head coach of the Chicago Bears, and according to the reports, he is likely to hire Dennis Allen, the former Saints and Raiders head coach, as his new defensive coordinator. Allen was thought to be a 49er defensive coordinator candidate. So Ben Johnson not going to the Raiders, after all, going to the Bears instead, and it looks like Dennis Allen's going to go there as his defensive coordinator. That takes Dennis Allen off the board. Another name that is no longer on the board is Lou Anarumo, the former Bengals defensive coordinator, who's thought to be a guy who really could slow down Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes because he had some success in the playoffs defending Reid and Mahomes. Well, Anarumo got a new job today. He's the new defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts. So Chris Ballard hires Lou Anarumo to be the new defensive coordinator there in Indy. Jeff Ulbrich is the new defensive coordinator of the Atlanta Falcons. That's right. Over the weekend, Raheem Morris named Ulbrich, reunited with Ulbrich, and makes him the defensive coordinator in Atlanta. So Ulbrich off the board, Anarumo out off the board, Dennis Allen off the board. Also today, Mike Silver is reporting that he says he does not expect the 49ers to hire Nick Sorensen as their special teams coach after all. Now, Kyle Shanahan relieved Sorensen of his duties as the 49ers defensive coordinator, but referenced that he liked Sorensen. He was going to try to keep him on the staff. A lot of people speculated that he would be the special teams coordinator. He had 1 year as the special teams coordinator in Jacksonville, and they finished last in special teams EPA. So I don't think that was going to be a great choice. The Niners have also interviewed Jet Modkins, who's the son of Curtis Modkins, former Niners assistant coach. Also, Chris Banjo has gotten an interview for the special teams job, and Chris Tabor have been interviewed as well. So no word yet on who will be the special teams coach, but according to Mike Silver, he doesn't expect Nick Sorensen to be the special teams coach. One of the names that was being floated around recently by Greg Papa was John Bones Fossil, who's been a really good special teams coach in this league for a lot of years. Well, today, the Tennessee Titans and their head coach, Brian Callahan, hired John Bones Fossil as the Titans special teams coordinator. So you can take Fossil's name off the board for potential special teams coordinator for the 49ers. A couple other Niner notes of interest. Demo Lenore tweeted that he'd love to see Max Crosby in a 49er jersey. He's like, how great would Crosby look in a 49er jersey? Of course, Crosby just signed a 4-year, $96 million deal or whatever it was recently with the Raiders. So I can't imagine Crosby's going anywhere, but Demo Lenore still tweeted out that he thought Max Crosby would look great in a 49er jersey. For those of you who are not in the know on this is kind of interesting. There's now NFL-themed restaurants throughout Mexico, and one of them is a 49er-themed Taco Bell. And I'm not sure where in Mexico it is, but I've seen pictures of it. There is now a 49er-themed Taco Bell in Mexico. So So there you go. You'll walk up to a Taco Bell in Mexico and you'll have a Niner helmet and Niner everything, Niner signage. And if you're sitting there going, what's the connection? I don't know. But there is now a 49er themed Taco Bell in the country of Mexico. Also, Albert Breer is reporting that Robert Saleh is the front runner to land the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching job. So there's a lot of speculation that maybe the Niners only were interested in Saleh and that they were all in on Saleh and they didn't want to even consider anybody else until Saleh had the Saleh option had been exhausted. Or there's a lot of other people that are speculating that maybe the 49ers wanted Robert Saleh, and if they can't have Robert Saleh, they'll hand the job to Brandon Staley. I can't be that excited about Brandon Staley. I'll be interested to see if it leads to a switch to a 3-4 because, I mean, that's the defense that he has coached previously. But there you go. Albert Breer says Robert Saleh is the front runner to land the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching job. So it doesn't sound like Saleh is going to be the defensive coordinator. So is it going to be Brandon Staley? And how's that going to play with 49er fans? I mean, could you imagine if the 49ers had 3 new openings for coordinators and went with Nick Sorensen, special teams coordinator, already on staff, and then, decided to go in-house for Clay Kubiak as the offensive coordinator, and then made Brandon Staley the in-house defensive coordinator? There would be a lot of criticism coming to the 49ers if they would go in-house for all 3 of their hires. I don't think they're going to, but if they do, get ready for an awful lot of criticism coming their way. Because I think there'll be people who say, don't you need to talk to somebody outside your building instead of, the echo chamber that exists from within? If you want real change, you probably want to go outside the building, but we'll see how that shakes out. PFF named Ricky Pearsall as the 49ers 2025 breakout player. You can see why when you looked at the way Pearsall finished this year, very much on an up note. His best ball was at the end of the year, and a lot of people expect him to hit the ground running next year. Over the Cap named 6 49ers who are potential cap casualties this year, this offseason. And their 6 are Malik Collins, Leonard Floyd, Yatir Gross-Matos, Jawan Jennings, which is probably the biggest surprise on the list, Debo Samuel, and Kyle Juszczyk. All those guys could be cap casualties. To me, Collins, Gross-Matos, Juszczyk would not be surprising. Debo, Jawan Jennings, and Leonard Floyd, I think probably would be surprising. And Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox is reporting today that the Chargers, who got knocked out of the playoffs and have lots of cap room, will have an interest potentially in a trade this offseason if the 49ers make Debo Samuel available in trade. The Chargers could come knocking, looking to acquire the 49ers veteran wide receiver. That's an interesting one, just simply because I think it's been speculated that Shanahan wants Debo back and that Debo's likely to be back. But if Debo is kind of a one of one, he's very unique in his own right. And if you like what he brings to the table, there aren't a lot of guys in this league that are like him. So if the Chargers do really like the skill set that Debo Samuel brings to the table, which is different than, some of the other receivers who are in free agency, different than the receivers they have on the roster currently, then you may see the Chargers make a play in free agency or make a play in the trade market for Debo Samuel. And it will be interesting to see if the 49ers, rebuff those efforts and attempt to bring him back. He's a very popular player with fans. He's very popular with Kyle Shanahan. Or does Kyle Shanahan look to trade him in and around the draft come April? I kind of believe that even though, on one hand, they don't have Ayuk coming back at the beginning of the year. So on one hand, it's kind of dangerous not to have Ayuk or Debo. But then I think when you look at Debo's price tag and what he really costs and where he's at in his career, I think the Niners are ready to part ways and move on. And my guess is that there might be a team out there that would be willing to trade you. Nothing significant, but like a 4th-round pick or a 5th-round pick. You're not getting a day 1 or day 2 pick anymore for Debo Samuel. Not at that price tag, not at this point in his career. You might find a team that's silly enough to give you a 4th or 5th-round pick. I wouldn't do it, but I think there probably is a team out there that will fall in love with Debo and what the skill set that he brings to the table, which is so unique, and say, you know what, we need that player here. And maybe it's the Chargers. So Christopher Knox says, look for the Chargers. They could attempt to trade for Debo Samuel in and around the upcoming NFL draft in April. All right, that's going to do it for your 49er update. You are consider yourself fully updated. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Mancini's and Sharp Corners for sponsoring this video. Thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.